say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Today is a special day for the Westchester Township, Liberty Township, and the entire Lakota community. Today we're officially dedicating this road to a true American hero, one of our very own, Master Sergeant Corey Hood. My name is Nick Enger. I'm representing the Hoodie Memorial Fund's management team. On that team, standing with me, is Ryan Gilley, Adam Curry, and Josh Zeverink. Collectively, we organize and manage the Hoodie Memorial Fund, which is held at the Community Foundation of Westchester Liberty Township. The purpose of this fund is to continue the legacy of our good friend Corey Hood and the positive qualities he represented. A strong will, a desire to succeed, and a little bit of grit. The main fundraiser for the Hoodie Memorial is a golf tournament and dinner. Well, I say dinner, but I really mean a party. We hold this each year, the first weekend of August. The past 2 years has been at Beckett Ridge Country Club because we want to keep it local to the community. The fund is set up to provide scholarships to Lakota students that represent the same positive qualities Corey represented. This past year's scholarship was $7,500, and we plan on doing another one next year. To give you a little insight, the four of us up here never have organized a road dedication ceremony before. In fact, collectively, we've never been to a road dedication ceremony before. So we did, when we started organizing this, we did what everybody does when they don't know what they're doing. We Googled it, and we watched about 20 YouTube videos on road dedications and declared ourselves professionals. But I got to tell you, not a single one of those that we YouTubed had skydivers and bagpipes and color guard. I think that's the hoodie factor, the wow factor that Corey brought to the party. Before we get started, I want to give a special thanks to the Westchester Township and the trustees that helped make this dedication a reality. I'd also like to special thanks out to Lakota schools and all the staff that helped put this together. The local Boy Scouts that was out here before the sun came up, putting out the American flags, and I saw them. It was pretty cold. Another special thanks goes out to the Back Porch Saloon. They're donating appetizers, and everybody's invited back to continue the celebration after this event concludes. Finally, I'd like to thank Corey's family for traveling all across the country to come here to be a part of this dedication ceremony. Thank you. For those of you that didn't know Corey was a proud Lakota West graduate, played football and wrestled. He was a tough athlete, both mentally and physically, with a lot of heart and a lot of energy. In fact, we have Corey's football coach up here from his Lakota West playing days, Coach Cox, that will be giving a testament to just that today. After graduating Lakota, Corey enlisted in the Army and reported to boot camp just months before 9/11/2001. Hood served 5 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, and in the 82nd Airborne and 101st Airborne. He had numerous awards, too many to list here. We also have one of his good friends and roommates in boot camp that's joining us here today that'll be speaking a little bit later to tell a little bit more about that story. Ultimately, Corey was selected to the U.S. Army Golden Knights, the U.S. Army's elite parachute team in 2014. Even though Corey traveled all over the world, he would always tell people how great Westchester is. Hood loved coming back to Westchester to see the friends, to see the township, and to really celebrate where he's from. On August 16th, 2015, Hood died from injuries suffered while performing for the Golden Knights at the Chicago Air Show. What I think is so special about today is Corey had this unbelievable way of drawing people together. It didn't matter who you were, who you hung out with, what color your skin was, you were a friend. And all of his friends were encouraged to be friends with his other friends. And it was always a good time. And he was always the life of the party. That's what's making today so special. Even though today Corey's not here with us, he's still drawing us all together to be friends and have a good time. And without a doubt, he's still the life of the party. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm a little less prepared, so I'm just going to use my phone to kind of go through my speech here. So when I was lucky enough to spend time with Corey, in between his deployments, and when he, was traveling with the Golden Knights, we would do what friends do. We'd get together, we'd have our fun, and as most late night conversations tend to gravitate towards, we'd talk about the future. And Corey was really excited about the idea of moving back, to Westchester someday, and even more so excited about our friend group. The potential that we had as fathers, coaches, to bring our kids together someday. Tomahawk football, baseball, basketball. Now, I don't think that Corey could have predicted the amount of girls that our friend group would have had, so I think his vision would have been slightly different, but ultimately the message was still the same. If we fast forward through, everything, all the events that led us to why we're here today, those are the conversations that still resonate with me. That optimism for the future and that shared love of our hometown. As we started putting things in motion, with the golf outing and the scholarship fund, and now this road dedication ceremony, from the very beginning, we always wanted to make the community our focal point. And really that's, what we strive to do, more so than anything, as we continue to do, take on more efforts. So when I look around at this group of friends and family, we have educators, local business owners, politicians, armed service members. it's really clear to me that the community didn't let Corey down. It gives me an even greater sense of love and admiration for my hometown. When I see people come together like this to help ensure the legacy of a great man is not forgotten. And the fact that we have the continued love and support from our community, to impact future generations, it really shows how special this community really is. So on behalf of all of us, I just want to thank all of you for everything that you do, the time, the effort, to really help keep this train rolling. So thank you.
Thanks, Josh. So just a couple words. I think it's important to note that the group here, these are the people that knew Corey and why we're doing this and the impact that he had on this 5-mile radius around in our community and also throughout the entire country. But Corey ran out onto that football field. He was a player. Cox, he should have started. But as a student, Corey carried the W, the flag, and would get the crowd pumped, and then he would immediately go to the visitor side and talk to the visiting students. That was always interesting. But we knew that Corey. Corey came to all the baseball games right over there and was our biggest supporter. Corey wrestled and poured his heart out in that wrestling room. 100 pounds and would wrestle anyone and just would never back down. And socially, Corey was the life of the party. Corey was our ringleader, and as Nick alluded to, everyone was included. And a lot of us have known each other and become friends because of Corey. So I think it's important to point out that Corey wasn't an all-state athlete. Corey didn't start on the football team. Corey was a pretty good wrestler, but didn't have the size. Corey wasn't a straight A student. Corey was an average student, and that's a stretch a little bit, I guess. But every single student, every classmate, and every teacher that drove down this road, they knew Corey, and they knew what Corey was about, and Corey represented what we're about in this community. And that's why we're all here. But I think the coolest thing about this is the sophomores and the juniors and the parents and the visiting schools that will drive down this road, and they'll see that sign, and that'll create a conversation. Who was Corey Hood? Who is this guy? Why is this road dedicated to him? Ordinary students and ordinary athletes, they don't get roads dedicated to them, and Corey was far from ordinary. So I look forward to the first time I get to explain to someone who Master Sergeant Corey Hood was, looking at that sign. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Adam Curry. These guys have already hit all the major points, but the big ones I think that are important are, seeing everybody gathered here and, celebrating his life and, continuing that tradition of, when he came into town. And, it was just a big deal, and you can see that right now that it still is. So after this, we are going to Back Porch to celebrate. Back Porch has been one of the first and biggest supporters of this golf event, and they still continue it today. So if all of you could come, there's appetizers and obviously going to be a great party afterwards. So we just all wish that you could come and continue building on his legacy and memory. Thank you.
We have a handful of speakers that'll be coming up in a moment here. I'm honored to introduce the first speaker, a former U.S. Army Ranger and a friend of the Hoodie Memorial, representing the 8th District of Ohio, Congressman Warren Davidson.
Thanks a lot, and thank you all for coming out here. I didn't know Master Sergeant Hood, but I know about him, and that's what memorials are really meant to do. And hearing even more from his friends and classmates reminds me a little bit of myself. I joined the Army after high school. I was a pretty average student in high school. I wrestled in high school. Definitely wasn't a contender for state championship. But the Army really gave me a way to change my life, and it did. And it did for Master Sergeant Hood. For somebody to be at the age he was, to have attained to rank a Master Sergeant, you know that, as the Ranger Creed says, that gallantly will I show the world that I'm a specially selected and well-trained soldier. You can't make the Golden Knights unless that's true. You can't make Master Sergeant at the pace that he did unless that's true. And I'm honored to have also served in the 101st, the unit he served with. He served 5 combat tours in Afghanistan and Iraq. I served none in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I think that's important to remember. This drive's named after an American hero who didn't lose his life in battle, he lost it in training. And one of the biggest things that Golden Knights does is inspire young men and women to continue to keep our country free with an all-volunteer force. So I'm continually impressed with the caliber of people that raise their right hand and swear an oath to support and defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. It's an honor to do it in a very different way than I ever would have thought as a member of Congress. I hope you'll stay in touch with our office, but I hope that everyone will remember Master Sergeant Corey Hood. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Congressman. The next speaker is very fitting for this ceremony, being that the Corey Hood Scholarship is only awarded to Lakota students. I'd like to introduce Matt Miller, Lakota Superintendent.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Lakota Board of Education, our staff, and most importantly our students, we have the privilege today to honor the memory of Master Sergeant Corey Hood, a 2001 Lakota West graduate and an American hero. Master Sergeant Corey Hood Memorial Drive will be a permanent and daily reminder to our community of his selfless service to our country. And I love the story that you shared about the kids driving down and the parents driving down. And there's a story that we get to tell after today. It's a wonderful and much deserved testament to Corey's character and all the memories he leaves behind, or left behind. He always will be remembered now as a valued member of our Lakota family. And again, we get to tell the story after today. I'd also like to thank the Westchester Township and all those who made this dedication possible, the family, Nick and your crew, for getting this accomplished. At Lakota, we value those students who choose enlistment as a postgraduate option, and it's refreshing to see our high respected and admiration in our community join us in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. The next speaker is a Westchester trustee that spoke at the Hoodie Memorial last year in favor or in support of renaming the road. I'd like to introduce Lee Wong, Westchester trustee.
Thank you, Nick. This is truly, we call in the Army an airborne day, right, Warren? Do I have my friend Warren Davidson here? This is really an honor. And Corey Hood, all these friends here, these are all standing here for Corey Hood. And to the family, I give you total respect for what Corey Hood had done. It only took us a few seconds for my fellow trustee, Mark Welch, and Becker, former George Lane, to make this decision to make this, dedicate this road for Corey Hood. Even though there was some paperwork involved, a lot of jurisdictional issues, but we got it done. I want to say that one of us airborne is only about very close to Fort Knox. I was stationed there. It is a combat-ready unit. I would say that when I was in Fort Knox, I could hear the war call. You know what the war call is? One of us screaming eagles, I will tell you. I have places to go, I have people to kill, I have a rendezvous with destiny. This is how these soldiers, they are so dedicated. They are there to defend our country, our freedom. Without them, we wouldn't be standing here today. There are all kinds of evil acts outside. Well, I'll keep it short. Again, it is a big day for Master Sergeant Corey Hood, and thank you for all the friends here.
Thank you, Lee. The next speaker is Ralph Arias. Corey and Ralph met and became friends while stationed in Hawaii in 2005. now retired Ralph served in combat with Corey. They spent 15 months deployed together, and I think that was actually supposed to be 12 months, but it ended up being 15 months. After their time in Hawaii, they continued a close relationship through the years. Ralph has finished out his career most recently with the UC's ROTC program, and that was all part of Corey's plan. Corey's plan was for them to get back together here in Cincinnati and show them how great Cincinnati was. So without further ado, Ralph.
All right, so yeah, that was our plan, right? I was supposed to come to UC, retire out of UC, and he was supposed to take my spot. That was our plan. But of course, when if anybody's been in the military before, when a plan comes together, their execution, it doesn't happen right? So that's the whole thing about me and Corey. Whenever, when we were stationed in Hawaii and we were stationed at Fort Campbell together, we looked at each other, especially in Hawaii with our platoon. We looked at each other and said, all right, here's our plan. And then we looked at each other again. All right, forget our plan. We're just going to shoot from the hip. All right, so that's what I'm here to do today. I was starting to write a speech to come up here, but then after I thought about it, and in true Corey fashion, I'm just going to shoot from the hip. All right, the impact that Corey has had on me as a person, as an individual, is unforgettable. What he's accomplished, what he's done for me. Today, with everybody out here today, the impact that he has on each and every one of you, whether you think so or not, you know, he's here today. You know, heck, Corey gets what he wants. You know, from the burial site where he's at now to today. This morning was cold, very cold, right? And look at today, blue skies, the wind died down. He gets what he wants, one way or another, all right? But for just like Nick said, he has a way of bringing people together, you know, from friends to family. I'm proud to bring him into my family and for him to bring me into his family. Carrie, love you to death. You know, I appreciate the support throughout the years that, you know, when we lived in Virginia, Corey would come up, hey, let's go to my mom's house. Just the way he brought in people, that was just the type of person he was, the impact that he had. And whether Lakota West knows it, the high school knows it, when I was teaching at UC, I had a cadet, now lieutenant, last name Reynolds, Lieutenant Reynolds. He knew nothing about Corey, but when everything happened, he came up to me and just gave me a big hug. And he said, you know what? He said, you know, I don't know who Corey Hood is, but when I wrestled for Lakota West, my coach mentioned him a number of times on his character. So it feels like I know him. And then coming to meet me, it just turned him around. And it just made me know what impact he had on everybody. I'm not going to take much more time, but I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Nick, thanks for giving me time on the mic. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ralph. Our next speaker needs no introduction to the class of 2001 or 2002. He's our version of Mr. Belding, Mr. Hamilton.
All right, thanks, Nick, I think. You know, what can you say about Corey Hood? There's no doubt he brought the wow factor to everything he did, whether it was on the weekends or whether it was in the halls of Lakota West. I don't think he paid once to get into a home basketball game. He and his buddy Austin Rhodes, and Austin's back there someplace, somehow had somebody always kick a door open and let them in. So Austin's now AD up at Springboro, and Austin, I hope you have a dozen Corey Hoods just driving your life crazy from now on. And he was the only one in my 14 years here that thought it would be a good idea to bring a beach ball at the graduation.
I did that. Mom did that. I gave it to him.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. But in fact, he was, to show how much grit he had more than one. And he started handing them out to Tom Brewer, and Tom Brewer was smart enough to say no. And everybody else was smart enough to say no. Because on that day, I was a little gritty, and you could never tell what I was going to do. But, you know, he was just a great kid. And as Ryan said, he wasn't the greatest student, and he wasn't the best athlete. But he brought a lot of grit, I think, to everything he did. The one thing I'll always remember Corey for is that when his group of guys were all hanging out together and they were whining about something, he'd all just look at them and say, man up. And that's what I always remember Corey, because that's what Corey did in his life and he did with his friends. He made them step up a little higher and man up. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Corey's football coach while attending Lakota West. Please welcome Coach Larry Cox.
You know, I'm really humbled and honored to be included into this because it's such an honor. I look back and see some of these, the former players, former students. I'll try to keep my remarks brief, and I know they're going to laugh at that because they know I wasn't really good at that. But as I was driving here, I keep thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Because as I remember Corey was that one young man that always made you do and say things that you did not want to do or say, but you had to because he just drove you to that point. And I'll tell him today, Corey, you got me in good clothes. If anyone knows me, I'm a shorts and t-shirt guy, and I'm dressing up for you, buddy. So that's as good as I can give to him. But as I was driving in, I thought of the movie Gladiator, and I thought of the line from Marcus Aurelius, what we do in life echoes in eternity forever. And as I drove down, and I walk up and I see this sign, Corey, you are our gladiator. You are our guy. And I want to build upon, and I hope every kid in this information age can search Corey Hood, and that should be required of Lakota West students. Because the best thing that I can say about Corey is he did something that we want all our students to be able to do. Shine after high school. We don't want high school to be their pinnacle. Corey shined after high school. He kept raising, and as we said, average kid, just a fun-loving, but he took what he had and he said, I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better. And he did, and he gave the ultimate sacrifice for his country. And I hope every kid learns from that. And you know, I've been fortunate in my 21 years as the head coach at Lakota West High School to coach some great athletes. But Corey, once again, did a first. I got to coach a hero, and for that I am thankful. Again, I appreciate all you inviting me. I love this group, I really do, and I'm humbled and honored. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker, Corey's mother, Carrie Mills.
Wow. I'm not used to talking in front of a lot of people, but I just want to, I'm very humbled and wow, and this is why we're here, the community. Corey did love all of you guys so much. Mr. Cox, he loved you so much. I just finished reading the scholarships, and you guys talk about Corey's grades and not being the best student and all that. He wasn't. Could have been, but he wasn't. But I read these scholarships, and I sit back and I think, I'm reading these scholarships, and they're all Corey's friends, because that's how they were. They did all that stuff. I'm tongue-tied, but I just want you to know my heart thanks you. Ralph, all of you, just means so much. So I haven't said anything in the past. It's hard. I'm still speechless, but I just want you to know how grateful I am for all of you and the community. He did love Cincinnati, Westchester. So I love you. Thank you.